The Raiders just traded pick 92 to the Seattle Seahawks for quarterback Geno Smith. They have $51 million in cap space, the 6th overall pick, and 8 other draft picks. It is safe to say that head coach Pete Carroll and the Raiders are in win-now mode and are ready to compete in a stacked AFC West. It all starts in free agency where they need to upgrade this offense. I believe that Jacoby Myers will be moved at some point, so they will sign wide receiver Tyler Lockett. This move is too obvious. Bringing a Carroll and Geno guy that will fit into this culture, be a leader for the younger receivers in the locker room. More on that later. Lockett is not the player he once was, but it is a smart move to get the veteran in there on a cheap 1-year, about $9 million deal. He'll be a solid third option in this offense behind Brock Bowers and one more receiver they will bring in. Maybe they bring in Tyler Boyd, Nelson Aguilar, KJ Osborne, or someone of that caliber too, as they will add more veteran depth and reliability to this unproven receiving room as like a wide receiver 4. But next up is to shore up this run game. They have the offensive line to have a decent attack, but not the guy behind it. That's why they'll bring in Najee Harris. Again, another move that makes sense. Physical specimen at running back, and while he has not lived up to that build or his hype coming out of Bama, he still has been somewhat successful in the NFL. That's the Raiders' mold of back. So, bring him in on a 2 to 3 year contract worth $8 to $9 million per year, incentives based as well, to make sure you have someone back there who shows a shade of competency in getting you a first down when you need it. Center Andre James was released, so that is something that needs to be taken care of, but Jackson Powers Johnson can play center, and after grabbing guard Alex Kappa, they'll be fine in that regard. Oh, and guys, if you're looking to play fantasy sports again, I know it is March, but there are other sports on besides the NFL. The best place to do it is on Underdog. Underdog Fantasy is the best and easiest place to play fantasy sports. So all you have to do is pick between 2 to 8 players and a pick 'em entry, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money. Look, they have stuff like profit boosts every single day. They have daily and season-long drafts. It really is the best place to play. If you use code Fanatics at signup, you get a deposit match up to $1,000 and a free higher than 0.5 pick. Send me your entries and let's win some money. And in terms of offensive line, let's look at Geno Smith. In Seattle, he was always being pressured near the top of the league in pressures every year. From 2022 to 24, the Seahawks offensive line graded out as the 26th, 28th, and 20th best O-lines in terms of pass blocking. The Raiders last year, 13th. A clear upgrade for a great quarterback who show why the Seahawks lost his trade by a mile. For some of you who think that QBs cause a lot of pressures at times, which can be true, Geno Smith is top 5 in pressure responsibility percentage. The Seahawks offensive line, every position is in the bottom 5. The tape is there for Geno Smith. The stats might not be the best in the world, but he can throw the ball wherever he wants and make plays on the field. A true gem of a trade for the Raiders, and a great landing spot for a guy looking to be protected for the rest of his career. One more thing about this Raiders offense. I don't know how I feel about Chip Kelly in 2025. He was the national champion Ohio State Buckeyes offensive coordinator last year and did a great job, again, winning the trophy. But I don't think his offense will translate to the NFL like it did when he first started with the Eagles. But we'll just have to wait and see, of course. He's a veteran coach with a lot of experience under his belt. Maybe he can figure out the NFL game again. After those moves, they will have about $33 million left in cap space and have to go to the defense. The rush defense was fine last year, plus they'll hopefully have Christian Wilkins back in the front 7, and he is a monster with Max Crosby. He also signed an extension after 2 months of uncertainty about what his future would be. So, if I'm the Raiders, I'm overpaying for Carlton Davis, DJ Reed, Javon Holland, Javarius Ward, Byron Murphy, Ken Bynum, or any combination of a safety and corner. They rank 29th in coverage grade as a team, and it needs to be fixed ASAP. You had the 4th lowest turnovers in the league, 5th most passing touchdowns allowed, and ranked 24th in passer rating allowed. Adding any of those guys would be a huge upgrade, even if a couple of them had down years. It is an obvious decision to be made by the front office and ownership to bolster the secondary. Even if you get an average secondary, Max Crosby and Wilkins can help them out by getting to the quarterback quickly. While you may think Wilkins is just a run stuffer because he's a defensive tackle, you'd be wrong. Just 2 seasons ago, in 2023 with the Dolphins, his last full season, he had 61 pressures and 9 sacks from the inside. He can get to the quarterback and does it well. Just anything that is remotely close to a competent secondary, this defense goes from bottom 3 in the league to top 20. After the defensive moves, you go to the draft. And how will they win next year through this draft? It's simple. You draft Royo McMillan at pick 6. I don't think New England takes him at 4. I think and I pray for Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter after all recent reports, so he will be there. He's a bona fide stud at the wide receiver position. A tall, good downfield receiver and can make plays with the ball in his hands. What is there not to like? Best part is, he'll be your number 2 behind the best tight end in the league, Brock Bowers. On that note, I believe they trade away tight end 2, Michael Mayer, to the Patriots. Tet will fit the Raiders well and will be a great target for Geno Smith and the perfect number 2 behind Bowers, a Drake London or T. Higgins type of receiver. But you could also go Ashton Genty. But if they trade Myers, which has been reported that teams have interest in him, you cannot draft Genty and you have to take McMillan. I would say you go for a guy like Amarian Hampton, Trayvon Henderson, or Quinshon Judkins on day 2. This means that the rest of your draft should go DB, running back, quarterback, or offensive tackle in the first 3 rounds, another defensive back, linebacker, wide receiver, and whatever else you may want to grab. It's important that they get depth at some of these positions, especially quarterback, wide receiver, and defensive back, and maybe get a running back too. If the Raiders can make these upgrades at huge positions of need, they will have a chance in a stacked AFC West. They've been too bad for too long. With a new ownership group, coach, and general manager, it is now their time to make their run in the division. Will they win the AFC West? God, no. We all know it'll be Kansas City every year. Could they make the playoffs as a wildcard team? Potentially. Although they are win now mode, as clearly seen by the moves they have made and will make the rest of this offseason, they may still be a year away from being a real threat to make an upset in the wildcard round or go on a miraculous run. However, with the moves right now, they are trying to win with Pete Carroll and Geno Smith.